You and I were taking a walk today in Ojai, and it's a Saturday morning, and there's activities in town, and it's like a small town where it feels kind of like. Did you ever read those books when you were growing up that they were children's books and they had all the different little animals that lived in the city?
No.
Really?
Well, maybe. I mean, you know me. I don't have a good memory.
Like the worm.
Not really.
There's like a worm with a little hat and.
Probably. I don't know.
Very popular books. Are they Richard Scarry books? Is that who it is? I forget, but that's what our town feels like.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's kind of like, oh, well, there's the person with the baguette walking underneath their arm, and there's you know, the nice old couple who want to pet Billy, and there's, you know, and then there's our homeless friend Kyle, who's just
adorable,
sprawled out on the grass in the middle of like all this heaven activity, all these people having these like, you know, enjoying the beauty of a place like Ojai on a Saturday. The quiet hustle and bustle of a town, a quaint town, and then homeless Kyle, who we've been taking care of for a couple years, and we have this relationship with, and we treat him like any of our friends. You know, we don't like, hey, are you okay? Like, we don't do the performative, like, oh, this is how you're supposed to talk to somebody who is in some difficulty. It's like you squeeze yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, are you okay?
Yeah.
Like, and so we just like, hey, man, what's going on? Oh, do you need anything? Like, hey, I'm going in the store right now, you know?
Yeah.
Or, hey, it's getting cold out here. Like, you need any blankets or whatever. And we've just had these relationships, and we let him pet Billy no matter how stanky he is, no matter how covered in dirt or bleeding he is. Like, we let him pet our dog and everything. You know? And so I saw him today in the middle of heaven. And it was like so perfect because it was keeping all this honest. It's just like, hey, don't forget.
I know.
Don't forget, like, amidst your heaven, that there's suffering still.
Yeah.
You know, and not so much, I know I'm sounding like so boxy around, like, you know, hey, let's remember there's suffering in the world. It's hard to forget there's suffering in the world, but it's kind of beautiful to see this,
but
like,
he's
balancing
kind of like,
it out.
He kind of is like, he's kind of like, he is kind of Ojai homeless. Like, he's like,
right, because
he's like good looking. like he would be a really handsome person if he like got his shit together.
Yeah.
But also what I think, I don't remember if I talked about this with you. It feels like on something recorded, but he's so respectful. Like,
yes,
we give him art. Not that this is about Kyle, but like I feel like we give him our time because he's just a respectful person. Like, he really doesn't take advantage. Like the other day I was walking and he was behind me and I didn't know, and he said, "Excuse me, ma'am, can I pet your dog?" And he was being playful with me.
Right,
you know?
right.
And it
like
was
a friend
like,
would be, like if you didn't see them coming and they came around the corner, like, I'm disguising my voice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
It was like cute and playful. But yeah, no, that was good to see him sprawled out,
like passed out cold.
You know, he could have been dead
on the grass in a very small grassy area amidst like shops and all this stuff, and people walking around, and there's just his sprawled out homeless body. Yeah, and he's been.
It's interesting though, because a couple people recently have called on him, like have complained about him and get him sent to the hospital, and you know, these people just see him slumped over, and they're probably concerned, but
there's you and I have that relationship with people in life where there isn't a fear of responsibility around engaging with people.
Mostly. I mostly have that. But you've taught me to be better at letting go of the responsibility part.
And you've tested it out and seen that there's truth to it, that you don't have to feel responsible
but
if you
it
engage.
still can arise in me, and I can still withhold because I feel like, oh no, if I engage with this person, then I have to engage with them every time, or I have to go on for more than 5 minutes, or I feel like I'm committed now.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I have the bandwidth to be committed to very many people.
Well, and if you wear life loose, like a loose garment, if you just wear the whole thing.
This is a clip. Okay, carry on.
Oh, you're just looking deep into my glasses as I say something.
If you're wearing life like a loose garment.
If you wear life like a loose garment.
Mm-hmm, which I'm not wearing right now, and it's very uncomfortable.
You know, it's sort of like the idea that it's going to be a responsibility that every single time now we have to say hi to the person, or we have to give them attention or resources just because we've done it once or twice. Mm-hmm. The idea that people are like, I don't want to do that because I want to start a dependency. Sure. There's some truth to that. There's something called idiot compassion, which is a real term. It's a real Buddhist term from a legit Tibetan Buddhist.
Yeah.
Idiot compassion is that thing
which
where
women are really prone to.
Where you give somebody something in the moment because you're more afraid of telling them the truth that you don't want to give it to them, so you give it to them anyway, or you're gaining
something. You're gaining something for yourself.
Well, it would be like in some cases it's like giving a drug addict,
right,
like in your family, money rather than taking care of the issue because you're afraid of the inconvenience. Of the responsibility around now, what do we do getting this person into treatment, all that stuff. People are just like, it's going to take up too much of my time. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
So people stay out of that.
It's intimacy that we're afraid of.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing with Kyle. This, what is it? This no housed person? Is there like an appropriate... Yeah.
Unhoused? Is that what the kids are saying these days?
Stupid.
Well, I'm unhoused twice, so I get to use the
yeah.
But it's like I get to use the unhoused word. I have a pass. Or the homeless, the H word, the hard H.
Ramdas was like telling the story once about this woman who didn't want to give, or who was only giving money, and she. Oh, I forget the story, but what they're really wanting is intimacy. Like they're wanting us to stop and say hello. I mean, they don't know that they want that, but
I think it's just to see them still as a person.
Right.
Not like a bag of needs or like a gaping wound or something.
Yeah.
Like they're wanting to be seen still as like somebody that you can have the good morning, Phil. Good morning, you know. Like you're just passing. And that's what it is.
Yeah.
Somehow, I mean, I guess, you know, Ojai's pretty ripe for the pickings as far as like homeless living. I'm sure it's pretty sweet, you know? I mean, it wouldn't be a bad place to lose everything.
Well, we had like a homeless, like in camp, like we tried to whatever. That's who cares? We don't need to talk about that. But
we tried to.
Remember, Ojai made the homeless.
Oh yeah, they made a homeless
area.
City. Yeah,
and
like, they were like, hey, you guys can have this.
We're gonna bring you coffee every day, and we're gonna feed you lunch, and it lasted about 3 minutes.
Yeah, it felt like one of those old-fashioned like Looney Tunes thing. Like, hey, let's lure them on. Yeah, we're giving you a little plot of land over here.
Yeah, so
it's gonna be so great.
Yeah, so you don't hang out by the shop that sells pillows for $500.
We're bringing you what do they call them? The muffin bottoms. We're keeping the tops. We're going to bring you muffin bottoms from the Duchess.
Yeah, right. It didn't work.
Right. Well, anyway, so that whole thing, that whole engaging with people and non-responsibility, like the loose garment aspect of what I'm talking about is every day I'm not the same person walking my dog when I pass our friend Kyle. I'm not the same person. I don't have the same schedule.
Right.
You know, I may be covering a dog walk for you or maybe you know, or whatever it is. I
Yeah.
may have something on my agenda. I may have
Yeah.
just come out of bad sleep because I was working on a podcast all night or something. So my day-to-day, like
availability.
Yeah, exactly. And weather system. I mean, there's always compassion. There's always, I see you, brother. I
Yeah.
see you over there. I see you there, and you have my prayers, and, you know, we're all doing what we can. But he's not somebody who also is like, goes out of his, you know, he's not like got a sign or anything
No.
like that. He's very, like, he wants to have dignity. He has dignity, I feel.
Yeah.
You know? But so I just kind of treat him the day to day, like however, what's going on with me, because that's how I treat a friend. Like, hey, I don't have much time right now, or like, oh, hey, yeah, you know what, I'm going in the store, I can get you something. Are you interested in anything? And sometimes he has funny requests too. Like my favorite story of him is, you know, one day I walked up, and this is just how funny it is about perception, because. And this is actually something to talk about. I think it'd be fun to talk about, you know,
Wait, don't go on.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. No, the theme sort of is that we're talking about here is sort of things that we thought were the way that they are not the way that they are. And we thought, like, I thought Buddhism was about 100% vegetarianism. And I've been a Tibetan Buddhist for 20 years, and only over the last 8-9 years I've peeked behind the curtain in many Tibetan green rooms, okay, in illustrious places, okay. And I'm a Vajrayana Buddhist, and most Vajrayana Buddhists, as it turns out, including masters from Tibet, eat meat. And I was vegetarian associated with some idea of Buddhism for most of my life. Like, I was committed to being a vegetarian because I thought that it's no harm and all that stuff. And that's true to an extent. There's a stage of Buddhism where, like, there are just stages of things, and something that you thought was one way is not the way that it turns out to be later. So this is one of those stories where, like, I'm walking up to Kyle, and he's got a Coleman grill, like, in the box, and I'm like, this is great. You know, immediately I'm just thinking, this is so good, like, he can cook now. So I'm like, hey man, well, things are looking up, you know, somebody donated a Coleman grill, huh? And he's like, yeah, I don't know where I'm gonna store it now, you know. I don't know. Now he's got dependents. People thought that they were doing something nice for him, but now he's got to think about where to keep stuff.
Yeah.
And that's not something that you would know unless you're, like, really paying attention, you know? And so it's better sort of just to get to know people, or to ask them what they need, rather than...
Everybody, not just homeless people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't assume,
that's a metaphor,
just ask me.
right?
Yeah.
For, like, don't assume what I'm going through. Don't assume what would be exactly. Just ask. And there is a thing, though. People are avoidant of this very intimate excursion of paying attention to somebody and giving them your attention, because you're worried. Most people are worried about not having the right thing to say if they stumble into territory that is beyond their emotional pay grade. So they just stay out of it. They just rather stay out of it.
Yeah.
They're
not even doing it with their partner.
And everybody's talking at the same time also. That wasn't a dig on us right now. No, but everybody is. Everybody's just talking, like, there's not listening happening. There isn't listening.
Right.
There's like, oh, good, that's an access point for me to tell you this amazing thing, and to know there's a lot of people talking in Ojai, like, letting you know that they understand spiritual technology. So they come talking, like,
yeah, but the not listening,
technology.
the not listening and the talking too much, like, or it being interrupted, they're both coming from the same place. They're both coming from not being heard.
Validationville.
Yeah, they're just both coming from not being, not having intimacy with the people that cared for them in their youth. And so they want to be heard, so they're interrupting all the time, and they're not listening. They're just communication skill. I mean,
well, people have
their foundational relationship resources that we just didn't. None of us fucking had. We're just none of them.
People haven't had their chance to be apologized to, also. So they're just not, they're kind of starved for getting apologies themselves or validating themselves beyond getting an apology from somebody that hurt them. So everybody's on a pursuit of that by outweighing people in experience or something, or in intensity of experience. So it's like a competition out there. What the fuck is going on here? I feel like my pants were on fire.
Oh. Is it warm?
Yeah,
maybe it shouldn't go on fabric.
It might have been on. It might have been on.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did Kyle ask for? Salmon and brown rice?
No, he didn't ask for today.
No, you were telling a story about something funny he asked for. Oh, no. Maybe
it was the Coleman.
Oh, it was the Coleman.
It was just the Coleman Grill. Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you think you're going to help somebody, you just give a donation or whatever it is, but, it's better to get to know people and their circumstances. And you don't have to feel responsible for what happens next because everybody's living their lives. And,
But, I didn't... It took me a really long time to know that and trust that my compassion was enough and that it was real. I don't know. I want to say particularly women because of the nurturing.
I was hoping you'd talk about women.
Oh gosh, don't get me started. It's like we've been, I see it in my mom which she's gotten better at, but it's always like there's had to be something in between her and you in order for her to feel like she's benefiting you. I'm going to bring you a gift. I'm bringing you a dish. I'm bringing you a thing.
There's an intermediary.
Yeah, because then that reflects my...
It's a love language
connection.
thing.
Well, this is interesting because my love language, most of my young adult life was gift giving, and one of my best friends can tell you that she was like a receiver of that love language a lot. And yes, I was a really intuitive gift giver, but I think whatever.
Is that your mom's? I mean,
okay. So the other day I had an insight that I don't know what, something promoted the insight. I don't know if it was drugs or something I was watching, but I had this insight that felt really strong where I was like, oh, I was a gift giver because of the thing that I'm talking about. Like I was a gift giver because I had this difficulty of intimately communicating. I was just shy and inside, and
so it's like this will speak for me. This will show you how much I'm thinking about you, how much I paid attention. Maybe that thing you said once that you're
because
into.
It's too much to tell you, and it's too much to hug you. I mean, I was a little bit of those things. And I had the insight because I was like, oh, that's not a thing anymore for me. Like, I don't value gift giving anymore. Like, I have fun with it sometimes. Like, it's fun and it's sweet, but I just don't value, which this is going to sound like, because I'm like a minimalist and I don't like the material world, but I just don't value things as much anymore.
That's a part of it. That's one part of it, right? Is that you don't value material things anymore. But what would be the other? What would be to fully say what that is? That shift. It's not just that it's a non-materialist view.
That shift just happened as a result of practice
of actually engaging with people and being the gift more in situations.
Yes.
For people.
And trusting that it was really honest and real, and like that I do really care about people, and maybe sometimes I don't express that perfectly, or I don't express it enough, but like I care so much. I just care so much. But yes, there's been an increased I guess ability to express myself with words and different ways of affection rather than gift giving. And
it's not only learning how to do that though, but you've had to actually watch that over time. That is more beneficial. That the good of that outweighs the good of past gift giving. Like there's this review. I mean, you're a scientist like I am of the day to day. Like, why am I doing that? How old is that behavior? Wait, oh yeah, that's not the way I want to say that. Oh wow, that was very nice. Oh, you're thinking too much. You know, like this, you're in a constant observance with your environment. We are individually.
Well, with myself and my motivations and my, who I am to myself and others. Yeah, it's a constant observation. But this one felt more of like an insight in reflection. Like I didn't try to stop being a gift giver. Like it was a byproduct of creating a more intimate relationship with myself that I could then extend, outward, and like trust that extension was good enough.
Well, another thing that we're kind of that's on a day to day is, I was noticing this today. I paid some bills today.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to brag, but we're going to have internet for another month.
Oh, God.
But after I paid the bills, I heard this voice inside me go, yeah, well, we got to keep the magic going. And it's like, oh, that's a nice way of thinking about paying bills. Is like, electricity is magic. Hey, motherfuckers, electricity is magic. It's crazy that we can turn on lights and that we can do everything that we're doing.
Should we have to pay for it?
Well, I don't know. That's a bigger thing. But I just think that we're good at rebranding like the day-to-day minutia thing, because like honestly, paying a bill, and this isn't a conversation about like the cost of bills and all that stuff. I'm just saying I'm grateful that I can keep the magic of electricity going on. In the house
that's
by
all
doing
you and I
something.
do is rebrand our life to make it like tolerable to like live in this insanity. But it's an authentic rebranding and reframing. It's not to do it to get through.
Right.
It does happen.
We're not coping.
No. We're not
it's
coping.
Like there's another way to see it.
But we do. Yeah. No, that's what I tell people in consultations. I'm like, I'm not here to give you like these like psychological resources that can help you temporarily to get through a moment. I'm like reframing you to truth that'll stick across issues.
Yeah.
Like it's
not like a suffering removal system, counseling and therapy and psychospiritual mentorship.
Right.
It's not that. It's really like, hey, in life, we don't take everything into consideration. We just feel a hurt and we go, I'm bad. And we think about all the other times we were bad or something like that. And that's what happens there. But we're not going like, and today I kept my cat alive. And today I blah, 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 blah. We don't take everything into consideration. We just isolate things. We isolate also things that we celebrate in life. We go, oh, aren't I something, And it completely isolates the things, and we're not thinking about like, hey, don't forget you came from a suffering place, or remember what it was like to not have anything. So if we live more balanced moment to moment, day to day, with like if an infraction happens or a mistake or something like that happens, to immediately work on thinking about the size of it, no matter how big it feels in that moment, in the scope of who you are and who you've been your whole life and how you care, how much you care and where you show it, take all that into consideration. So I feel like besides just helping people rebrand or see something a new way in the sessions that we provide for people, we're also doing that.
Which people are scared to do because they are so conditioned in fear as being the motivator. Like, I find people having difficulty giving themselves that kind of spaciousness and consideration because they feel like it's going to stop motivating them. Even though we know negative reinforcement doesn't work. I mean, it's just like one of the psychological 101 things.
Yeah, but you and I were talking 2 days ago in the morning, and you looked really good in these shorts. We've been together 9 years, and I still watch Lacey get up and walk places. I still watch her in the house in her shorts or what have you. Like, after all this time. It's like, that's really an accomplishment, you know? And
for both of us.
Yeah. It's like for modern day civilization.
Yeah.
It's an accomplishment to still be engaged this much with somebody and to be this deep in attempting to help people as long as we have been in professional situations and otherwise, to still have this, you know, thing. Anyway, so we're sitting there talking, and I was saying, like, just as about the struggle in life and the people are addicted to the struggle, you know. I said to you, like, man, I feel like I'm waking up after 30 years of just trying to survive every single day. Just like all of my forward thinking, all of my dreaming about the future or plotting to have something that's not here right now is based in the fact that I ran away from home when I was 17. And I had to think about the next meal or the next place to sleep. And so you're always in this plotting of like getting the next safety. And so I've just been in that like my whole life. And into my adulthood, I think it carried into, you know, that kind of mindset. It's just been there. And I've been looking outside of myself just constantly for the next safety zone. And then, you know, you add spirituality into it, and then things get a little mystical and synchronicities start happening, and you go like, oh, wait, I got to pay attention for the next synchronicity or something, you know, and it's just all still a part of this model of survival that I haven't rested from. I mean, we've worked straight through the pandemic and mental health.
Yeah.
Like working on people's trauma through the pandemic in private practice, in direct sessions. Like, we don't take time off. And I have to say that I'm not trying to make heroes out of us or anything like that, but I am really wanting to point out, what is it that can create a relationship where I'm still looking at you every time you get up from the couch to see what you look like. There isn't a single morning that you go to the bathroom in your underwear that I don't look at you. I wake up to look. Aww. Still.
That's so cute.
So what can do that and keep a relationship this respectful to where like you and I, like we talk about our relationship as if like we're playing a video game that we're going to survive. That's how we talk about it. Like at this stage, we trust each other so much that when we examine our relationship, it's almost like we're talking about it as if we're already going to survive it. We've already survived it. It's a game that you live through, even if you die. Like you live through this love. You know, we've already shown that like we've broken up like many times or had these like simulations of breaking up to get to what really love is. Not to, the breakups have always been a relinquishment of control to really see this unconditionality of love and to see if it really exists. I wanted to believe in that more than anything. I needed to believe in unconditional love and not Lacey Dillmore. but unconditional love working through Lacee Dillmore in this relationship, you know? So it's like it doesn't need you or I, is what I wanted to prove in all these times of challenging our relationship in this way. And so now that we've done that, we've survived, and we know that love is still here, even though we don't try and control each other's lives, and we're inseparable at a John and Yoko level. That's what Yawn and Loko is a tribute to. Yawn, I kind of like, I've never really broken it down, but it's like, you know, I'm the meditation guy, so I was like, Yawn, you know, sleepy meditation guy. And Loko, well, you can take over from here.
Do you really want me to talk about Loko?
No.
I never have, but it makes sense.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
I'm more dysregulated than you are.
But that doesn't make me complacent also, like, you know, because maybe that's true. But I feel like I've wanted to, because I've worked on myself enough and seen, and I'm dedicated to living beings, like I wanted to take some of where men have gone wrong in this understanding and learn more and ask of the relationship less than even is common.
Well, yeah, both of us are not, like, when I say I'm more dysregulated, obviously I'm slightly being silly, but I am speaking to the we'll just call it the female hormonal experience. But I think both you and I, like, yes, you have stayed committed to not reacting to that in a way that's superficial and lazy, like I think happens in a lot of relationships. And I've made a commitment to not use it to justify behavior or just a way of being that's
you haven't wanted to take advantage of it. I mean,
I've wanted to do that, and I've wanted to get to know it so that I can navigate it in a way that causes myself and everybody the least amount of harm.
Yeah, you're doing beautiful work around this. And what can you say about what I think you're probably more informed now about not only your system, but there's enough data from the women in your life that are of your age group who are experiencing a very specific hormonal situation that there's never been more information about to help. And that involves like nutritional, dietary changes and lifestyle changes really to work with, and also psychoanalysis, you know, like self-appraisal, like spaciousness around, you know, having some agency in your mind to be able to view things so you don't just take things out on people. So I feel like you're somebody who's really quiet as it's kept, leading a charge of understanding this and really putting the work in around it. So as much as you can share with people, you know, what you thought it was and what it is now.
It's a lot like, I mean, the way that you just described our relationship, it's the same thing. It's like really getting to know it. Like it's getting to know, in our relationship, it's getting to know myself, you getting to know yourself, us exchanging notes on that, not solidifying in those selves, and giving each other updates about how that's going and how it's reflected in our relationship as two people in a romantic relationship. But it's like just like a deep getting to know. And so I feel like that's what I've been doing. Definitely with, like, it feels like getting to know the hormonal experience has been piggybacking off of, again, me just like getting to know myself more. And I mean, I'm 40, and so I'm finally going like, oh, these are just some of these things are just your way. And like, they're not to be, because I've had a habit of lack consciousness where every way of my being isn't good enough and needs to get bettered or needs to change. And
there's a tough love process in instigating those changes, if
sure.
at all.
And I think it's like often the result of comparison, you know. And so I've just been in this like, this has to be better. This has to be, I've never really rested in any part of who I am. Like, it's just like, which is kind of a in the moment insight, but I've just like, it's just been this like, you got to be better. You got to do better. You got to push this part of yourself. You're an introvert. Yeah, but you got to be more of an extrovert, because if you're not, this isn't going to work out. Like, this whole life isn't going to work out. So I think with age and of course the practice that I'm sure will, you know, point back to as a foundation for how you and I are both moving through the world. But I think there's just been this like getting to know myself and going like, oh, this is kind of like just your way. And you're just more of a quiet person and you like a quiet life and you don't want to be in social situations much. And I don't solidify in that either. I check in with that and I go to a big social event and see what's there for me and see if anything in my body is changing in that experience and see what I touch into these things, but so much of it has just been this like, oh, like that's just like fine.
It's a weird dance, okay, isn't it, between like wanting to leave a mark in life and wanting to also leave no print of your existence day to day, emotionally in a negative way on your environment, but you're wanting to also express yourself and make a mark in life.
Well, that's,
isn't that true?
Well, that's interesting because, and I'll go back to the hormonal thing for me, it's never been wanting to leave a mark. I think there's a natural, I think that we all share, there is a natural urge to express, which I could go off on a tangent about that because I think I like realized just like what I'm here to do finally. but I have the natural urge to express. I don't necessarily care about it being seen. I guess I do want people to hear it because I want it to help people. And I am also like way okay if I don't leave a mark. I just don't really care. But I care when I care, like when I feel like I want to express something,
or when you are recognized. I mean, your work was recognized by
that feels good.
Rick Rubin not too long ago, in a way where it was something that you made that was recognized and that felt good, but your whole life isn't depending on how these things, if they ever show up.
I think I'm not trying to be cute with this answer, but I really think that I'm thinking about that moment, and maybe that moment was a little bit different, but the moments like a client or something was supported by something I helped them with and they reflect that to me. It really does like I'm happy for the truth. You know what I mean? Like I'm happy for
right.
I'm not happy for me.
Right. That's right.
But I didn't know that until this moment. But like,
oh, that's good.
I think I'm like just happy that like, oh, good. Like the truth is getting attention, and it's. Well,
you and I are famous for in our relationship at home, sort of not wanting to be right. Nobody's ever trying to be right in our situations. Even though, like, yes, no, sometimes it comes through the vehicle.
We're good at keeping that in check.
Yeah, but I mean, it's sort of along those lines, like of not being right, but sort of just the truth being represented.
Yeah.
Not my truth, not that type of thing. But like a universal truth of just like, hey, this is what it was for me. I'm not saying it's right, but this is what it was for me. And so I'm dealing with the emotional imprint of how it affected me. I'm not saying that should be how yours thing is, all that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
that's ultimately the like universal truth is being expressed there.
Yeah.
You know, more accurately than just like, this is my, you know, my truth is like, okay, well, do we need to set up a judge and jury?
We
like,
don't
okay,
even.
like, oh, where is this being recorded, your truth in the universe? Like, can we find it on Neptune?
Well, the
in
different
a storage locker? Like, where's it? Like,
the difference with those, well, I don't want to get too much on a tangent of that, but the difference with my truth and the way that we're talking about it and criticizing it with our sense of humor is that those truths are usually based in fear. If you like lean back into them, they're mostly fear being projected out and wanting to claim, because if I don't claim, I'm going to lose something.
Well, and I also think that it's an invitation in that moment. It's somebody saying, this is my truth. If you're saying that to somebody, you're giving basically covertly, and this is subconsciously, I'm not even saying you're consciously doing this, but you're wanting somebody to make up for something that was done to you prior to knowing them in most cases. You're wanting somebody to like, hey, this is my truth. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, your truth. Oh my God. Well, maybe I'm sorry.
But that's what I mean.
That will cure the pain of needing to say my truth.
Yeah.
That will do it. The person who's in front of you. Like,
but that's what I mean.
They're usually not the person who put that wound there.
Right. But it's based in lack and wanting to serve lack. And that's why it doesn't move anything. Because anything motivated by lack or fear, it doesn't move anything. And I think the truth with the capital T that we're talking about is generally based in love or compassion, even if it's not expressed in the words of love and compassion.
No one's right in universal truth. No one's right. No one is. Everybody has an experience, but no one's right.
Right.
That's it. World peace solved.
Yeah, but you have to make choices of some people being right to go a certain way and make a certain decision.
Yeah, no, we all synchronize around sort of there's an ethical blueprint of, at this point, we've all scientifically decided that there's certain things that have been measured through medical history and psychology and coming out of the years of the dark ages of emotionality into what we are in now. Like, we have enough evidence to support that there's an sort of ethical framework of what compassion is, what basic decency and civilization means, to being civil to each other, you know? And calling somebody a gentleman means like that you're a gentleman. You know, originally these are like aspirational terms, civilization and gentleman. It's like something you would aspire to be. A civilization is something you aspire to have, you know? But it's not what we have. What we have is like a lot of unchecked aggression based in past moments that haven't been validated or made well. And so everybody has a stash, and they're taking their stash out of hurts that are unchecked on other people. And sometimes they're squeezing them through smiles, you know, like squeezing them through like a bartending job where they have to smile. You know, or a waitressing job where they have to smile. They're squeezing it through, but there's pain there, you know? And then we go like, if a waitress is having a bad day and she's, you know, we immediately like we want to get her fired. We're not even thinking about that. Like, she's having to fake be happy, you know, a lot of the time because tips are involved, you know? And it's not to say, you know, the good waitresses, as you might say, are like people who are naturals who really do care and are good at their job because they really care about people and, you know, and all that.
know there's,
but whatever, there's a performative aspect of life that most people are in, and we figured out a way to be civil to each other by driving the distance that we do on the freeway, which I'm still amazed by. It still amazes me to this day how well it's all working in spite of us being at the end of the world or whatever. Like, it's pretty incredible.
It's mostly working well.
It's mostly working. People stand in line. People say, like, I mean, and, you know, I know there's varying conditions, but I'm blown away. Yesterday, I drove from Ojai to San Pedro and back, and I was driving thinking about how few accidents there are, you know, and how I don't know, just like it's all working. And I also had this trippy thing, and I don't want to go too far away from hormones, but it's kind of maybe it'll come back around or something. But oh, what was it? Let's see.
Driving San Pedro.
Yeah, driving to San Pedro. Came back and how well it's working, and I don't know. Well, there's just so many tabs open, I guess, in my mind.
It's okay. I, you know, we're talking about people having to fake it, and we're talking about compassion, and well, I just feel like people don't have the time. I feel like a lot of the work right now, or maybe it's always been this way, is like me telling people that they have to radically find the time and protect that time, space, maybe time isn't the word, but space to get to know themselves, so they know how they're projecting their wounds out onto the world, and then how to cultivate the practices, or the practices that will cultivate a state of awareness to where they can resource true compassion to tend to their own wounding, and then finally project that compassion outward. That part of what it feels like I'm doing all the time is just trying to get people to have that space to do that. I mean, I work with a lot of mothers who have jobs and are full-time moms, and like,
another way of saying that space also is like how people are having a relationship with ChatGPT now to ask it advice for this, that, and the other, or like a spiritual thing, or how do I say this better? You know, how do I say this more like that won't hurt people's feelings? When you talk about building space into your life, it's so that space ultimately will become an intelligence like ChatGPT.
Right. And they're not motivated to do that because they have ChatGPT.
Right.
And because they have the things that can make the wounds feel better immediately by whatever's on the phone, or whatever they can put in their mouth, or a gummy, you know, like they don't, it's just I just feel like an important component of talking about being better to ourselves and to each other is like that we have to like gain agency over our minds again, and say like, I need to go do this thing over here and be with myself, like to organically circle back to hormones, like understanding the hormonal experience and what's been going on with my body lately beyond the hormonal experience, just what goes on with my body requires so much of my diligence and my
in every area
attunement,
of your life. Right,
and pause and slow, and like, and I'm in confrontation with urgency, my conditioned urgency that's always trying to have me do something or move somewhere or get somewhere quicker, although it's gotten so much better. But it's really just having conscious awareness in all areas of your life. Conscious awareness, conscious contact with my hormonal experience, so that like it doesn't run the show. Right. You know, it's like,
You want to keep, like, you know how freeways intersect in LA? It's sort of like all the areas of your life are sort of like the freeway system in LA where all these freeways intersect. But, you know, you want to keep the traffic clear in all the different areas.
Yeah, you have to get to know the freeway.
And you can see how something on the 105 affects the 110. You know, it's just really that's what conscious awareness in all areas of your life. You can just see the flow of how all these things are connected, how health is connected to thought.
Yeah, and it's not a pretty process, and it's not a transcendent process, and it's not a process that I think is typically marketed in the health and wellness community. This is like a attunement that is like irritating a lot of the time and
inconvenient.
Totally inconvenient. That's like
it's the kind of thing where like you're invited to a wedding and what they're serving you just won't be able to eat.
I was going to say there's string cheese in my there's organic
warm fucking string cheese in her purse.
Like, that I'll eat probably more than I would eat anything that we could find on the way back home.
Yeah.
And like that's it's so becoming so dialed in.
Yeah.
But I have to sacrifice. I don't know about that word, but I have to let go of other things in my life to be this attuned.
It's so like
I think for now we have a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. You know, it's a wonderful place, but it's small for the 4 of us at times. Because a part of me is unwilling to work my ass off because I want this body to get better and I want to be attuned to it and I want to like understand it and know it. And if I go to a 9 to 5, forget it. And so,
well, that's after having
the
worked
government might be after me because of my tax debt.
You worked in 9 to 5s, so like it's not saying, hey, just like you experienced that to know that that's not where it is.
Oh, definitely.
You know?
No. I know not to, at least right now, to go back to that because it's a great detriment to my holistic being, which then is a great detriment to those around me.
For people who aren't born into spiritual traditions or households where there's a religious thing that actually like you want to carry with you after, as a youth, like you go, you know what, even this resonates as a teenager, or I want to take this out. For people that haven't had that, most people stumble into spirituality or seek it at a point and they go, I'm going to investigate the spirituality thing, almost like it's a hobby, like taking up tennis. Yeah. Or something. And so they show up to the spirituality zone. They're like, oh, I'll go to a crystal shop and maybe I'll investigate crystals, or I'll do a meditation at a yoga studio or something, right? So they go do that and they're being spiritual. They're over here being spiritual for a minute, doing the thing. We all do. But then we go back to our life and we eat the things that we eat and all that stuff and we talk to that way and blah, blah, blah. But pretty soon this spiritual thing, if you stay with it, and this is just a common story, I think, it's about how if people stay dedicated to this spiritual thing, it starts to widen a little bit for some people. It starts to broaden, like getting into a new sport or whatever it may be. You start to like really like explore it more and more. And then pretty soon what I've realized is that spirituality isn't, it's about seeing how everything works. For me, it's just about seeing how all these things intersect. It's really just being spacious enough to see how life all intersects, how truths intersect, how spiritual traditions do, how health and what I see in nature, how it corresponds to everyday life. And if something doesn't correspond to something that I can see in nature, then it may not be something worth investigating. But, you end up wanting to eat the best food for your body because it's about sustainability, like life's about sustaining your body, and you can't see untruths anymore as true. You can't see at a certain point that like pulling over and getting fast food,
it's almost not even a choice anymore. It's like not even
if you're doing it and you believe in it and it's yielding something for you, then it just starts to become the road. The road shows up under your feet.
Right.
You know, and it doesn't look the way that you thought that it would, maybe.
Right.
You know, it hasn't for me. And
Well,
I say a bunch that I don't know if I would have signed up for it if I knew that it was all
Well,
this.
that's a big thing that I think people need to like have a peek. Like they need to know that's a part of this thing. Like they need to know that that's a reality of this way of being, is that it's incredibly disappointing and I mean disappointing to
an ego,
the part of our minds that was told it was something else.
Right.
It's
fanfare,
it's a
or
lot
you'll
of
be something.
It's a lot of going without, or at least practicing going without. Like, just that's what I mean about like taking agency back of our own minds. It's like people to go without the phone,
Right.
alone.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's
to trust the unknown.
I mean,
is what you're saying.
I even in my trying to cultivate new relationship with the phone had like 3 really good days. And I was just blown away. I was just like blown away by.
I know, it's really cool that it's kind of like revolutionary to see like your phone upstairs next to the bed while the morning's happening, and you're not just carrying it around or have it downstairs on the sink.
And I don't care what anybody says. Like, yes, the world's changing, blah, 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 blah. And this is where it's going, Lacey, and get with the program. It's like, no, it's not, that's not truth to me. And I was just feeling more, literally like feeling more organic. And then I saw my mind, I watched my mind go, not even consciously, but go like, oh, you had 3 good days. Like, it's the weekend. You can fucking
scroll a little bit more at dog shit.
Knowing that, like,
I mean, not
complete
at dog stuff.
Actually, the dog stuff, like, I kind of have a lot of like,
it's like a part of your mental health package.
Kind of, a little bit. Yeah, I'm like really honestly like dead serious. It kind of is. Even going back to the phone, I've been like, okay, you can watch the Asher House shout out Instagram page, and it's just a dog sanctuary. Like, you can watch that before you go to bed, because that's like okay. And so I given myself these little kids. But anyway, I watched myself go like, you did good for 3 days, and then so you can have a
Give
day,
a little sweet treat.
A little sweet treat. I can go out for a sweet treat, and then you have.
I'm gonna comb my beard,
and then you have the sweet treat,
like
and then you have the sweet treat, and you're like, ugh, like I don't like this anymore, but I'm still probably gonna go buy it again tomorrow because it's not out of my system yet. So anyway, this is all to say that people need to. Well, and I guess it's part of what you and I do is like, hey, this is like actually how it goes.
Right.
This is like actually how it goes. And part of what I'm saying is that like, you really need to like change your life to change your life. Like you have to like make very different or like choices.
If nothing changes, nothing changes.
No, I hate that so much.
It's like tickling your foot or saying the word moist.
I remember my ex-boyfriend who
the fuck
I was with before you. Shout out.
Wait, what's his name? You're talking about him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, great.
I remember he said that to me like right when we started dating, and I just thought it was like the most profound thing
if nothing
ever.
Changes, yeah.
Yes. And I feel like I wrote it on I painted him a picture of that quote or something. Like it was like
it's like world what is it? World market cost plus
100%. That's where I was shopping at the time. But you know, she was essential. That Lacey was essential.
Totally. We all start as posers.
I mean, it did like that. I remember that quote being like opening my mind. I remember that quote going like, oh, like, there's a space in here that just opened that I didn't.
Simple truth. So simple. Like, yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess that's right. If nothing changes, nothing changes.
And I've been telling people recently, I'm like, listen, you're not going to believe me, but
if nothing changes, nothing changes.
The instant gratification let's just use the phone again as the example because it's the ultimate example currently, is like the instant gratification, that dopamine situation that happens. I really feel like we'll just call it spiritual seeking, understanding truth, gives you that same kind of, because it's like you're constantly asking questions and rarely getting answers, but sometimes you'll get like a hit. You'll get like a little like, ooh, okay, that makes sense for this thing in my life. And it has this like nourishing, kind of like infinite nourishing thing to it, like that, like the scrolling. It's just kind of like, the difference is like you get a good hit from spiritual seeking that can apply to the rest of your life. But I just keep telling them like, if you can get in a practice, which is the hardest part, but if you can get in a practice, it's kind of a high. Like
people don't know how good it feels to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody fucking knows.
Yeah. Or just to like what I was saying.
To be confident in yourself. No, I mean, really.
No, what I was saying earlier about me just accepting these parts of myself.
Yeah.
It's literally been like the last 2 months that's been happening. All this work and it's finally happening. It's like
the most basic bitch spirituality ever. It's just like taking care of myself. Like it's accepting who
these
I am.
Aspects of myself.
Right.
It's like
Coulter Jacobs was
100% is exactly what he's talking about. He's like, this is just how I am and what I like. And
he stays out of contemplating the universe and is just like working on accepting himself, which is contemplating the universe.
Totally.
Because you're a part of it. And
totally.
We know more about
totally
the stars in the sky than we do about our own ocean.
Totally.
And that's a metaphor for like, we don't know anything about our insides here, but we know everything about fucking.
When he was talking about doing his art, your guest yesterday, when he was talking about doing his art, I was like, I think I know what my thing is. Because, I have a client load. And you're not like this.
It's like a full diaper.
I have a client load or a mentee.
Needs a changing.
A mentee load. And I don't even like calling them either of those words.
Loads.
But like I have this like.
Jesus.
I have this, well, I don't know, like I don't know. I have a group of people that I'm working with intentionally who are paying me money.
You have a gaggle. A murder.
Who are paying me money. And you're not like this. Like you're doing the things that you're doing. But I am so in contact with all my clients. Like I text them, a lot of them every day, every other day. I'm constantly thinking, would this person like this? And like,
this just came out of that.
Hold on. No. You were never like this.
Really?
Like, no, your thing is this thing. And your thing is making festivals and bringing people together. I'm telling you, I figured out my thing that has been a thread in my whole life. Like it's been a thread.
It's text threads?
No, it's been a thread in
I know, but your thing in life is what?
I'm getting there. So I'm in contact with them a lot. I'm constantly going like, okay, what would be this good for this person? Oh, this book. Oh, this quote I just read. That would be, show her this picture. Blah, blah, blah. Tell her to do this practice. Like it's relentless.
You have been doing that as long as we've been together.
But I like it. But I've been able to do it more in private practice because I have this like freedom to have these deeper connections with people. But beyond that, like what allows me to do that is I just love, and I always have, and it's probably why I went to college when I had no business going to college, but I like studying and I like...
Why? What happened?
I think most of my studying these days is a lot of affirmation of what I've been experiencing as a human being, and having people just say it in really like Thomas More says it in really depth psychology, poetic.
So studying spiritual text and spiritual
psycho-spiritual study, I would say, is like.
So this is kind of like
Carl Jung. Like I just
but I mean, your study is almost like a scrubbing away self. Or a separateness.
Probably.
It's not like accumulating knowledge so you can use that in as talking points and stuff.
It's accumulating knowledge to, understand that you don't need. It's like you have to get to know the mind to let go of the mind, kind of thing, like that.
Right? Isn't it all that? Isn't everything that you're studying kind of trying to reduce a you and become more of a part of your environment or a part of everything and a part of God and a. Isn't it kind of like a reduction of self-study?
Sure.
Because I don't think you're somebody who studies so you can put more layers of information on yourself to swing around like a big dick or something.
So, I mean,
which would be a good look on you.
Trigger warning, but I like Jordan Peterson. Okay, I mostly like his older stuff,
the hits
outside of him being preachy, which he definitely can be. Ooh,
that's a nice one. Nature also likes Jordan Peterson, obviously.
His lectures about God and breaking down the Bible, in a very metaphysical, psychological way, I could listen to for hours.
You just don't want to go in the bathroom stall after him.
And then, but when I'm listening to these things, there'll be a sentence or there'll be a metaphor or a biblical story, and I'll go oh my God, that reminds me of this client's situation with their partner. Send them this or explain this to them. Right. I'm just really interested in liberating myself and everybody. That's what it is. It's liberation.
Where is a you in that? That's what I mean. It's there's no you. That's scrubbing a non-you so you can be a part of everything.
Sure.
So you hear something inspirational you want to share with 8 people.
Sure. But I finally went oh my God, that's what I love doing. That's what I want to spend my time doing. If it were up to me, I feel like I can't because I feel like I need to do something else to make more money to keep this thing going. But if it were up to me and I didn't have that, I would just be studying, listening, and using that to help the people that I'm working with. That's just all I do all day long. And find a piece of art that would liberate somebody in their story that they're currently working with.
No, you know what it is? It's Lacey Dillmore making little mixtapes for people. It's you are in a constant relationship with making little mixtapes of information for people. And what's cool about it is that it's based in you knowing them and then also knowing what they're into and what they wouldn't be, and something that could really help them, or something even maybe that's will push them a little bit because you know that they need a little pushing. It's you're that's how people used to make mixtapes. It's you're not into metal, but I'm gonna put on this one song because you might like it. So you're doing that. You're making these little mixtapes with your clients, with my clients. And what's cool about it is that, and nothing against astrology or any of the sort of pseudosciences or whatever you would call that. I love
all those things.
No, so do I. But I mean, I don't want to. I want to say what yours are not based in pulling a card and rolling some dice and then reading something that somebody else said, kind of thing. Your thing is more it's more
very psycho-spiritual.
It's curating.
Yeah.
Bits of information that from various teachers, not just one thing.
That's what I like doing. Right. Curating,
I like the mixtape thing, but that's fine. Curating's good.
No, but I like the curating thing. Look at it. I mean, it's bright yellow, beautiful, extraordinary looking bird. Extraordinary.
That's a great moment. This and take a photo or two or something like that. And cut this out, will you? Right after the bird looking.
So anyway, I realized that that's my aim. Which I could
see.
probably
You and I both want to be. I think that really what it comes down to is like you probably have the same ultimate goal as me.
I think P thought you wanted a video of the bird.
Oh no, I was talking about us. I want you to video us in this scenario that you have created for us. No, I think you're wanting to come along with me and become a national park. I want to become a national park. I think that you and I together would be a great national park where, hey, just fund us the rest of life and we'll just show up and have intimate relationships with people. We'll curate their mixtapes for spirituality or emotional health or whatever. We'll do all that. Just take care of the basics. And I don't need a sports car. I just want to just not think about the monthly bills and shit. But my life's already dedicated to people. Can I become a national park, please? Sure. God.
No. Well, of course, I think everybody wants that. I think everybody wants
I think I have good reason.
The other issue with, the financial aspect of this that I feel like constrains me from doing this thing that I exactly want to do is, I help people too quickly. I can't really keep them around.
Most people would measure it out and they're like, hey, I'm not going to give you all this stuff. I'm going to piecemeal it out.
Which I've thought about before.
That's ridiculous.
I've actually thought.
I was just joking. Who would?
Don't send them this thing because then they'll know about the thing that'll relieve them of the thing that they're coming to you for. I've actually thought that before. I
personally have trusted in the nobility on some level of knowing how I'm showing up, knowing that I'm showing up motivated to put myself out of business.
Yes.
And I'm in touch with that, and I trust that will take care of me somehow. Even though, like, I would never hold back information if it's going to be helpful for somebody in a session, and neither would you.
Yeah.
We're compelled to share enthusiastically whatever's coming up, and especially if it's a reference that we relate to and have overcome something similar in our life that we can hand over so easily to somebody. We just do that. I'm set to put myself out of business in that respect. I know I never will, because samsara is so vast,
right?
And my time on earth is very small.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm motivated that way. So if I go out of business or it doesn't go well or whatever, the fact I just trust that I'll be taken care of because I'm motivated properly.
That's what I end up resting on, is that because it scared me. I've gone am I getting them the secret too quickly? Because ultimately I think everybody's coming with the same problem at the end of the day. And so even though they get curated in very different ways because they're different personalities.
What is that? Would it be, let me just take some
They
guesses.
don't love themselves. That's it. We don't love ourselves. And there's a multitude of reasons why. And we have to go through the reasons why so people really understand why. And
no. That's not a complete statement, because I just want to disagree, because I think that you and I see a very similar thing. And so, yes, they don't love themselves in the way that we commonly talk about or praise loving ourselves. But there are things that people do every single day that they're not taking account of where it's a loving act. And they're just not seeing it as the big, shiny, loving act that they're looking for in life, or dressed up like the person that hurt them and is making it better now. They're not doing that.
It's in the realm of self-love, whether it's they don't love themselves or they're not attuned to the aspects of themselves that would allow them to do so. Yeah, but there isn't a relationship with self-value.
Well, that's what what I was saying earlier about people don't know how good it feels to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Believing in yourself is sort of like that. I have my best interest over myself and have watched myself act on my best interest after everything that I've learned and done it all these other ways. I'm now consistently watching myself act on my behalf, on my best interest, in a accumulation of days put together, and that feels better than any validation I ever got from somebody outside of myself, because that comes with me. It's not contingent upon somebody else, and we're still addicted to the outside validations. So all I'm saying is that's what I mean about people don't know how good it feels to believe in yourself. Believe in yourself is that today I know that I'm going to show up for myself the way that I showed up yesterday. Why? Because the math works.
Right.
The math
But
adds
even
up.
to get there, which now I'm like going, well, I'm still every day very much trying to work on believing in myself, and like it's an everyday, very attuned experience.
You're watching. That's the thing. I mean,
but that makes me go like, actually, it isn't that fast of a process. Sometimes I can feel like I tell people these secrets and then they're just going to love themselves because now they know that that's important. But I forget.
Oh man, you've changed so much.
But I forget
since
how
I've known
hard
you.
it is to actually put that like in day-to-day like practice. Like it's really, I don't even know if it's hard as much as it's inconvenient and requires a different set of attention than we've been resourced with.
It's unbelievable to watch you, really. It really is. It's unbelievable to watch you sail the seas of cheese, so to speak. You know, to sail through difficulty in the way that you used to bow to it. And I see you've just very consistently having this backbone and integrity around not taking your shit out on others, you know? And you're a part of that other that you're not taking.
Yeah, and in
out.
a way that's not like because I'm a people pleaser and I don't want to bother anybody.
No,
it's like
egg-shelly.
different.
It's not egg-shelly.
Yeah,
no, it's confident.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Thanks, honey.
Definitely. I mean,
I'm so confident I'm about to unbutton these pants because they're killing me.
That's what everybody's been waiting for.
I'm not laced in loose clothing.
So what all the audio listeners at home
when you're
will have to use your imagination.
When you have like no torso, it just like right in the gut.
Mm. But isn't that, I was kind of working on a bit earlier in my head, you know, those imaginary bits. And I was just thinking about how everything in life should be called, oh, you're not going to like that in 10 years.
Oh my God. That's why I don't like looking at pictures of the past.
Right.
Like every time you pull up pictures from the past, it's crazy. I have such an aversion to the past.
Yeah.
Which is probably not great. That's probably some weird psychological thing too. But like, but I also think it's healthy, kind of. Do you think that I don't like looking at pictures of the past? Do
I think it's healthy? It's been annoying. I mean, no, I don't know, because it's been when I say it's been annoying, and I'm kind of joking around, but I mean, it's been annoying in the way of just like, oh, well, hey, come on, like, don't be so hard on the past.
Don't
shit on her. Don't shit on then. Like she had it going on. Like
it's very
she's the ladder.
Strange. It's very strange. It's like
she's the ladder that built to this moment. You know?
Like I just like.
I know. Yeah, I know. I live with it.
So it's probably not. That probably.
I don't think it's healthy. No, but I respect that. That's
because like it doesn't exist anymore.
You don't have to like everything that other people like. You don't have.
But
to
it also like just doesn't exist anymore. So like, why would I want to spend time?
Well,
with it?
What are you going to rely on? Is that really where it's coming from? Is that it's like, hey man, I'm so free that it doesn't even exist anymore. Why even look at the pictures? No, it's like I don't like the way I looked in that picture.
It's some of that. It's some of the look. But even if it's something like it's not even in. If I'm not even in the picture, but it's of the past. Like unless it's like my childhood, which is cute. But if it's like 4 years ago, yeah, it's something weird.
It's
about
mystical, cynical thinking.
Or I just think I'm like really happy with my present day. No, I
don't mean the show. I just mean like you have the thinking, like it's partially cynical view, partially mystical.
Right. Right. I feel like I'm just so happy with right now.
I mean, the mystical part is the part where you're
happy with right now and I don't want to look at past.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been having I've had it 3 times in the last week where I'm involved in something very passionately.
You have an out-of-body experience?
Yeah. Where I didn't just have one, but I've had them, and it looks a lot like this, where I'm just talking, and then all of a sudden, there's a me that's not doing any of this, that views this body talking, and then the me that's been in there is aware that all of this is going on, and it's going like, wait, what is that? Watch that person doing that. Why? Where is he getting his information from? Does he know he's not going to live forever? Kind of thing. It's like that true removed, and I'm watching it, and then it just goes, and I just power down. And I sit in that for a second, and I go, whoa.
Do you think with age, well, and practice, I guess, being you, that will happen more? Because I feel like that's been happening to me more. I tell you, in sessions, I just get almost dizzy because I'm like, whoa, what is happening? Like, what are we doing right now?
I don't think it's age. Look. Look, somebody who's taking Cialis or whatever, like in their 50s, might get a little dizzy from taking Cialis or something, and get a little nauseous or people can blame these things.
No, age with I mean age with somebody like you who's a practicing person of the.
I don't know about the age part, but I will say the practicing person thing feels. It feels like. It doesn't feel like an aging thing.
It's like an enlightenment thing.
It's just consciousness. We don't even have to go there. I won't even throw that on. But yes, I guess that is enlightenment, is where self gets interrupted and there's just awareness. So, So yeah. But, what do you do with that?
I'm not a fan of enlightenment. I don't want to be
enlightenment is fucking sold.
I don't want to get it.
It's been sold to us. It was sold to us early on in the spiritual practice. And now enlightenment is just that, what I just said it was. It's like looking dumb while you're talking.
Yeah.
It's like forgetting that you're a self and going and having an awkward break in a continuation of a self. That's what it looks like. That's enlightenment for a second. And what do you do? How do you spend that? Is that sexy to somebody?
No, I feel like the last time I practiced enlightenment was when I was getting my endoscopy, like the video, what am I talking?
A camera went
down your esophagus, and I was in the back like waiting area, and it's like a line of beds with people just like coming out of their colonoscopies, and they're like tripping on anesthesia, and it's funny, and I was mantraing the whole time I was back there, and she commented on my blood pressure being lower than most people. And I was nervous.
I hope you'll tell the whole breadth of this. This is a really great story about how you were going in to get this procedure, this endoscopy done after years of contemplating getting it done and trying to figure out the way through the medical system, and with time and schedule, and also just fear. Yeah. And you finally get yourself into a state of submission to where you're going to do this thing, and you're bringing your body in, and you're the most practiced spiritually that you've been around, sort of seeing something beyond man's idea of illness or all that kind of stuff. You're kind of challenging that, and you rely on a higher source, but you're still doing the thing, being responsible and taking your body into a medical office and having this thing done. So you're going in, and it's tenuous. I mean, it's like, it doesn't feel great, but it's kind of like, from what I watched, it seemed like you were the most strong you've ever been, and still like the most eggshelly and fragile at the same time. It's like this perfect mix of strong and soft, and you're in the office, and they call you back there, and I can't go with you. And so talk about the experience of how you started spiritually practicing from the office all the way in and through, and even, what you experienced with the people around you.
Kind of like what you just talked about, but like stepping into awareness, like returning into awareness as much as possible, to where, because you go back there and it's so intense. I mean, there's people moving around, there's all these, like, it's not a private situation. You have like 10 patients in beds coming out of these things.
You can hear them all.
Yeah, and it's a well oiled system for sure. Like, the people know what they're doing.
Nobody wants to think about oil.
But I was kind of thinking of it like, I was like, Leela. Okay, this is like just the Leela.
What's the Leela for the listeners?
It's a Hindu word for like play, like the drama of life, the play of life, so that you can not take it so seriously, essentially.
Right.
And
She's over there being nursing, and he's over there kneading, and
yeah,
just the play
or like
of, like,
maybe not even
doing
that.
their
But yeah, they're
roles.
just like
Everybody, the play of life, the interplay.
And so I was already in that, and it like softened me. And then I always make sure that I'm being really gracious with the people, because I really consider what they're doing, and I think what they're doing is really, or I don't know if it's important, but it takes a lot of education, and I'm being really sweet, and then there's a sweet exchange, and then it also helps me makes me feel more comfortable.
You're like, hey, you really draw that blood well.
Yeah, stuff
kind
like
of
that.
Stuff.
And my nurse was so sweet, but I just went into mantra pretty quickly, which was just Ram, because I could feel myself getting,
which translates as God. You
anxious.
were just saying God, God, God,
yeah.
Which translates as love, unconditional love.
Yeah,
you're just saying.
And I'm like hearing the people next door, and she's like, "Oh, okay, you just got out of your colonoscopy," and the person's kind of like fucked up on anesthesia, and they're like, "We're gonna have your person come here in 20 minutes." And I was like, "Oh, so it's gonna be 20 minutes till after I'm done that Jamie's gonna get here?" And I'll start to like get in thought, and then I go back into mantra. But the interesting part, that I don't even know if I told you this, and then she took my blood pressure and she told me that, and I was like, "Oh shit, like the practice works." Like she was just like, "Hey, your blood pressure is like pretty low for a situation like that." She's like, "Most people is really high." And
so you're just sitting there ramming through all this, and it's kind of kept your levels down, and she's even astonished enough to comment on it.
And so that was a really neat moment. And that's
kind of like, I just want to point out right there, when we talk about like proving certain things, like with spiritual practice of how they're beneficial, it's moments like that. You register that and go like, when I was ramming.
Totally.
When I was doing this mantra-based thing in a doctor's office, in a situation I didn't want to be in, my levels were low. I was calm.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You know, that's interesting enough to go, maybe I should do some ramming again in difficult situations.
Remember my dad was talking about...
And anyway, that's just how it builds. That's how you become a mantra-based person, is you start to see the results accumulate like this over time, you know? You string them together.
Well, and therefore these more intense moments. And so I'd been practicing before this for a moment like this. But I remember my dad was commenting on his blood pressure being really low after he went fishing. And he was really encouraged by that information. Like, oh, what happens to my butt? Like, I know when I'm fishing, I'm really relaxed. And he's not a spiritual guy. But anyway, it's much like that. But anyway, and then I met my doctor for the first time.
And Lacey's about to get fentanyl, by the way. She's like, the anesthesia was fentanyl. None of us were prepared.
It sure was.
And
I met my
we'll
doctor.
Get there, though.
I met my doctor for the first time in that moment, and he was Indian. And
you're commenting on that in a way of like, hey, for these kinds of procedures, isn't it crazy
whatever.
That's like the first you're going to meet him is like when they're going to stick a thing down your throat?
Yeah, and I guess there's no point and to meet whatever, but he was Indian, and that made me feel good. and then you get rolled back into this room, and I'm a conscious being. I'm just like going, because I had gotten this done in 2018, and I didn't track any of this shit. I was just like,
fear was more dominant.
Probably.
I was there,
and I was like, this is fucking crazy. They dim the lights. They go like, Lacey Dillmore, 318. They all say it at the same time. They go, go, and it's like, so they strap this thing around my head to keep my mouth open. It's intense. Like it's fucking intense. Like, it's not bad. It's not good. It's just okay.
And you've been working with that lately, right? Around like, you know, I know the notion has been there forever about pain being sensation and beyond a story that we're telling ourselves. Yeah. You're kind of like in the sensation rather than I'm hurting or this is hurting. You're like, oh, wow, sensation is here.
But I was really having to do that. I'm like, none of this feels natural to me. This feels so insanely unnatural to me, but I guess we're going to go with it. And then they IV me, I guess. And I was like, you have to be with losing your consciousness. See how much you can be.
Oh, you want to take the lucid trip while you're sliding from this consciousness into fentanyl consciousness.
I just wanted to see how much I could really be with that, because I've never tried to be with that.
Yeah. Fucking
and I was
ride
like,
the snake, brother.
It was crazy because it was mostly like fading and then it was just gone.
Wow, yeah.
But I was with it and I could hear their voices, and then I was like, this may be what it's like. The old croak.
Oh, dying? Yeah.
Well,
that's I have to.
I know it's not natural. It's fentanyl, of course.
No, not that part. It's just that your senses are some of the first things to go. If you're able to pay attention to a conscious death,
that's right.
You elementally,
elementally. That's true.
You start losing elements,
water and heat, and
right? Yeah. So senses go with that.
That's true.
You may not be able to hear or see as clear as you are.
No, that's.
But it's great practice. It's fucking excellent practice.
That's true. And then I was high for like the next, 12 hours.
And I have video. I mean, she kept on forgetting everything that she told me every 30 seconds. It's crazy to watch her for hours.
I don't remember the whole day.
She'd just tell me about the same story over and over again. It was great to see her all fucked. I mean, it was great to see her not on guard. Like, it was just great to see you a mess. Like, you earned it.
I didn't enjoy it. I didn't care for it.
That's crazy.
But anyway, that felt that being.
Who would want to live life where you can't be involved?
A lot of people.
I said who would want?
A lot of people.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Like most of the people we treat have not wanted to be in their own lives.
Is that like a new kink?
No, it's just drugs. But anyway, the enlightenment thing was like when I was losing consciousness, how much I was trying to be present with that was like, I was like, that's what felt enlightenment like to me. Was being with losing consciousness.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But there was a part where there was something about the other people, like you were hearing them being. Did you talk about that?
Oh, I just heard them on like coming out of their things, and they were on anesthesia, and they'd be like saying stuff that didn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I told the nurse,
Weren't you having compassion for them or something like that? I feel like you were like thinking about how sweet the people were.
I was. Yeah, I was like trying to. Yeah, it was like really sweet and cute. Like these adult men, like kind of blabbing and not knowing where they are was really sweet. And then I told the nurse, I said, I apologize in advance for anything I say that's inappropriate or confusing, which I don't know. Maybe I did, but.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Anything you'd like to share about your contemporary process of being a human being?
I don't know. What do you think people want to? What do you think people would want to? What do you? Can I? Can you put a quarter?
Well, no.
In me?
You just. What is what? Like I'm in the. The acceptance of these things about myself and conscious contact with the freeways of my body. Like, what is Jaymee's current? What is leading you through life that feels like it's important to be with or pay attention to or care for?
Everything that's beyond me. That's the truth. I've seen what I can do. I've seen what I can come up with cut off from a divine source. And now I'd rather be... I know that I appear as a person, but I liken myself to being an assistant. And I just want to be able to hear the message well, because I kind of think that what's possible with this life that I've lived and all of its destructive elements and all of its triumphs and all of its healing and all of what I've given back, that I'm working on creating a perfect illusion of a person to leave behind.
I know. I know.
This is what she has to deal with. This is what she's forced to love.
I'm like, oh God.
No, I mean, look, I have an opportunity right now to leave behind.
Don't you think you already have done that?
Yeah, maybe. That's fine. But I'm staying with that mission of, while I'm here, I'm creating something that will outlast me, that can be a example of where doing this, that, and the other can lead a person, and how beneficial it can be, and how little it can need from people. I'm creating an illusionary example of me to leave behind, because that's all that's going to last. And so every day I just think about, I don't register myself as an ultimate importance. I see the great position that I'm in at this stage to be able to have conversations on a podcast called Love is the Author, and what great position I'm in to use my life story in psychospiritual mentorship counseling. I see how I'm able to, I have mediums to be able to express what I've accumulated as far as like emotional and psychological and spiritual situations. I've accumulated enough to be able to hand over some thing with everything I do, some offering of that's always directly related to that. In everything that I do, it's always about that. I don't have a individual thing over here that I'm doing just for me. I mean, I guess it would be kind of like music at this point, coming back a little bit, and but even that is like, I'm not wanting to claim the best songs that I've made in the last 2 months. I'm not wanting to claim for myself. I'm wanting to sell them for somebody else. But you really like
doing the things that are creating this illusion. Like, you really enjoy doing the things that are helping create this illusion.
Dude, I feel like fucking yesterday I felt like Hunter S. Thompson.
I don't love doing really anything, but like, you love doing the things that you're...
Okay, imagine...
Which I love.
Imagine you could play basketball like Michael Jordan. I feel that I've been able to do some of the things that they were like magic tricks that I saw Hunter S. Thompson do in his writing, or the gonzo journalism thing. That journalism doesn't have to look like order and decency, that it can be like hanging out with somebody, and it can be kind of off the wall and all that. Like, I loved my day yesterday. I loved the spaciousness of driving down to San Pedro, getting there hours ahead of time. I drove around the neighborhood just to like see where I was.
Yeah.
I went up on top of a hill and looked at the harbor. Like, I did all this, killing some time, not like anxiously waiting to get to the thing, but kind of like, God, isn't it nice that I've given myself this time to just like breathe, and I don't have to rush to the interview and all that. And all this is like me being with myself. And that's the thing of like the confidence thing, is like, I appreciate who I am. I see the considerations I make for myself and for other people over time now. And I like being with that person that I am when I'm by myself or anything. But I know that I'm committed to beings and in everything that I do. So it just never kind of, so that's the easy part, is that all these things that I really enjoy doing, they happen to be things that really connect people. They're impetuses. They're inspirational points or something like that for people to jump off from, like it's like a high dive or something. Like, everything that I do is like offering somebody a high dive to jump off of. When listening to this podcast or this examination, or going into your trauma in a session, whatever it may be, it's like I offer very safe high dives. Like, high dives have to be safe in order for a pool to stay open. Like, so it looks scary, but it's there for a purpose and it's all been mapped out and kind of thing. So I just don't have a self in here that's going like that, knows that somehow it gets to walk away with the riches of being who I am or getting to do the things I do. I don't get to walk away with it, but I can really fucking be there for it. I can be there for every moment, and I live like I'm dying because I know that I am. And I'm not waiting to think that. I'm not waiting to feel the visceralness of that or the urgency of it. I feel it, so I live so deeply in the moment because that's the only place where you can cash that check. You know? And I guess there's another check that kind of waits for you at the end of your life that you only get right before you're dying. But every one of those checks ahead of time is, you can only cash it in the moment, and then the money's no good. There's nothing else to do. You have to be there for it. The only check that comes that's later on in life is seeing a long string of moments where you were present for it, to where this is another moment you can just let go.
Right.
That's my ultimate goal, you know? And it gets to come through the medium of loving people, you know, and listening to people and offering like I'm the guy who in spirituality fucking messes people's hair up, like messes Lama's hair up or something, or does it differently to show you that like that's not important. It's more important to like laugh in spirituality these days than it is to take something seriously. It's more important. We need laughter more.
Yeah, but and isn't part of all of what you're talking about, hasn't it also been it's been polished a little bit more recently too, to where I don't know how to characterize it, but like, you know, the like knowing that it's you thing, like that you are the one who've been waiting, like, you know, like,
yeah,
that
I mean,
you've
it's so
been
weird
getting
and tricky because like because
I mean, it is very weird.
It's
tricky
weird and
for
weird and tricky because I've been wanting to be something so badly in life for so long, and through searching being all those things, I found that there was no cash prizes long term of any of that. I thought that there would be some lasting thing with having something come from outside of you. So now it's shifted to where doing these things is like, I guess, to use the podcast as the example, or the message, love as the author, like you and I have been talking about for the last stretch of time, that we're not here to serve ourselves. We're here to serve love as the author. And with this podcast, if I serve love as the author, if I go like, who do you want to, who should we talk to next? Yeah. Which I have been doing lately.
Yeah. But before you were getting in the way of that.
Before I was going like, well, I got to keep up with the show, and I don't want to lose an audience, and like, oh, I got to do one next week, and I guess I'll just do this. And like, all that's guesswork. And, and this thing, it when I'm doing this thing right, like I said at the beginning of this thing, the road just it appears under my feet. The person shows up to be on the podcast.
And I think very, very recently that has happened because you have, which has been really nice to bear witness to as your partner, you even expressed to me in a moment when you were like, God, I'm really trying not to push in this moment when I would push.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not pushing.
That's another thing in my confidence. Like, it's going, okay, I'm going to watch myself not push. And if something good comes here, it's going to be from me not pushing in a way that I'll have watched myself stay back, like watching yourself not grab Twinkies or whatever the fuck
I know
it is.
You've been doing, I think both of us, I guess, have been doing a version of that for a long time, but it's like, and then you fall back into the thing, and then you get pulled back, and then you fall back into it.
Now it's like I'm embarrassed to myself when if I try and cheat math of the universe of just like, it doesn't come through your pushing.
Yeah, but it's a strong habit pattern that's trying to reroute.
Yeah, or there's just a thing that you were talking about earlier of sort of like lying to yourself, like, oh, I've been good for 3 days, so I'm gonna. Yeah. I mean, I had a period of this podcast where I took a month and a half off, which was radical for me. I was like, I'm not doing one until like God or the universe shows up and shows me who to talk to next, because I'm I become too consumed with this thing again. And I'm more interested in what the universe has in store for me, how it wants to use me next, other than my plotting, you know? So I committed to that. And in that month and a half, it was so great because I saw that like nothing bad happened. As a matter of fact, I didn't hear from one person going like, hey, are we going to get another podcast soon? None of that. And I worked on music at that time. I felt kind of connected to my audience from the podcast through the music that I was doing. Mm-hmm. You know, it was odd. Like, I just felt like as long as I'm taking care of that thing, you know, and staying out of the way of doing what I think it wants for me to do next, like, it makes it really obvious now. It shows up in such dramatic ways. You know, I mean, right now I have like a plethora. I'm coming out of that month and a half of nothing going on to like some of my favorite people and getting, here we are. You know, we're filming episodes, like a lot of episodes coming up.
Yeah. It's been so cool to watch you put like cap the false idol energy over and over again and see like the real energy come through, like the authentic, real energy. But I just like when you said that to me in real time the other day, like I'm feeling this urge to push and I'm not pushing.
Yeah.
Was like so valuable to me as your friend.
We make baby and we call him Huey Lewis.
Okay.
All right, fine. I think that's good. You can work with Lacee or I if you want us to turn these crazy lenses on your life, as we have. We both offer psycho-spiritual mentorship while we're alive. There's no guarantee on how long we'll be alive, so act now.
Love you.
Love you.